of Africa. The face and voice of Africa. The story of resurgent and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
Hello and welcome. I'm Gamachi Samandida and this is POA News. Stay with us for insightful coverage on the stories shaping our region and beyond. Let's begin with Ghana. Ghanaian President John Dramani Mahama has called on the private sector to partner with African governments in co-investing in the continent's health industrialization, saying stronger collaboration is essential to improving healthcare and service delivery. Speaking at the opening of the World Health Export Leaders Africa Summit in Accra, Mahama stressed that Africa seeks a new partnership model based on co-investment, innovation and shared values, not dependency. He urged vaccine manufacturers to help establish African vaccine production hubs and encouraged pharmaceutical companies to expand into biologics, genetics and essential medicine manufacturing on the continent. Mahama also appealed to diagnostics innovators, biotechnology firms and medical device producers to set up assembly plants, research centers and fabrication facilities in Africa to ensure more accessible and resilient health systems. Reflecting on lessons from the COVID-19 pandemic, when Africa often received delayed support, Mahama said the continent must shift towards self-reliance in health security. Citing the African Continental Free Trade Area as a unified market of more than 1.3 billion people, he highlighted Africa's expanding innovation ecosystem and the role of the African medicines as agencies in harmonizing regulations. Mahama expressed confidence in the creativity of young African innovators, AI developers, medical technology creators, and digital health entrepreneurs to drive a new era in the continent's health sector. The summit brought together health officials from across Africa, along with representatives from the Africa CDC and partner institutions. Tunisia and the African Union have signed a landmark agreement paving the way for the 6th High-Level Africa Forum on Women, Peace and Security, WPAs, which opened in Tunis. Tunisia's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Migration and Tunisians Abroad Mohamed Ali Nafti and the AU Chairperson's Special Envoy on Women, Peace and Security, Liberata Mulamulta, signed a Memorandum of Understanding formalizing Tunisia's hosting of the event. This marks the first time the forum will take place in an AU member state outside the AU headquarters, a recognition of Tunisia's progress in promoting women's rights and participation through reforms such as the 2022 Constitution and the landmark law number 58 of 2017. Over 2 decades, participants will review Africa's achievements since the adoption of UN Security Council Resolution 1325, strengthen multilateral and intra-African cooperation to safeguard WPA's gains and outline strategic priorities for the next decade of implementation from 2026 to 2035. Officials from across the continent and representatives of international organizations are expected to attend this high-level gathering, which aims to advance women's roles in peace building and security across Africa. Moving to Zambia, Zambia has received from the World Bank to support major reforms in its energy sector. Officials say funding reflects renewed confidence in the country's restructuring efforts and will help improve efficiency, strengthen financial stability and boost long-term capacity in both public and private institutions. The grant is part of the bank's broader support for countries pursuing energy transition and governance reforms. Zambia was assessed positively after introducing cost-reflective tariff adjustments and tightening regulatory oversight across production, transmission and distribution. The energy sector has long struggled with unsustainable pricing, low investment and reduced hydropower output. The reforms aims to fix financial weaknesses, diversify beyond hydropower and attract independent power producers through clearer contracts and market-aligned tariffs. Ethiopia's new national digital payment strategy and the instant payment system marks an important step in Africa's push toward a unified digital market, African Continental Free Trade Area Secretary General Wamkele Mene said. Ethiopia introduced a 5-year plan to build an interoperable, trusted digital payment system. The strategy aims at enabling low-value outbound, cross-border transfers via cards, mobile wallets and digital banking, it was learned. The new instant payment platform will also support person-to-person transfers, QR payments, bulk transactions and cross-border payments, forming the backbone of Ethiopia's digital ecosystem. Mene said these reforms strengthen Ethiopia's ability to benefit from the African Continental Free Trade Area's 1.4 billion person market with a GDP of $3.4 trillion, while promoting digital and financial inclusion for SMEs, informal traders and smallholder farmers.
What we launched today, the strategy, shall strengthen Ethiopia's competitiveness, as I noted earlier, expand opportunities for young people and SMEs. In a very short space of time, Ethiopia has built a digital finance ecosystem that is capable of serving millions of people. It is well known and well positioned to connect beyond its borders and plug directly into the AfCFTA's digital payment system.
He noted that Africa loses more than $5 billion each year due to currency convertibility challenges and stressed the need to reduce reliance on third currencies for intra-African trade. Mene added that Ethiopia's move supports Africa's long-standing ambition, dating back to the 1963 vision of African leaders to build a unified payment system.
What we have achieved today and over the next few years is not an achievement just for Ethiopia. It is a step in the direction of a truly integrated, single digital market in our continent.
He said the launch is not only a national achievement but also a major step toward a fully integrated African digital market. Moving on to business news, South Africa's National Treasury has raised 11.795 billion rand, equivalent to $692 million, under the country's first infrastructure and development finance bond, a major step in boosting funding for priority public infrastructure. According to a statement issued on Tuesday by the National Treasury, the auction attracted strong market interest, with bids exceeding 26 billion rand and achieving a 2.2 times subscription rate. Treasury said funds raised through the new bond will be used exclusively to finance projects under the government's budget. Facility for Infrastructure, BFI, a mechanism within the budget process that supports priority infrastructure through rigorous project screening for public funding eligibility. The 4 bid windows enable public institutions, including national departments, provinces, municipalities and state-owned enterprises, to request funding for part of the cost of a project as a basis to attract additional private funding, it said. The program allows the South African government to improve the quality and scale of the public infrastructure pipeline while embedding private sector participation in infrastructure delivery. As part of the funding strategy, the National Treasury plans to tap these bonds in future auctions to finance further budget facility for aligned infrastructure projects. These reforms include the development of long-term financing instruments to crowd in investment for priority public infrastructure, it added. Glencore has become the first miner to export cobalt under Democratic Republic of Congo's new quotas, sending a small initial shipment to test the system. They sent a small initial shipment as a test to the system, according to Reuters. The government source confirmed that the Congo has cleared Glencore's shipment pending payment at 10% royalty. This marks the beginning of exports following a long-term ban which pushed cobalt prices sky high and strained the availability of metals needed for electric cars. Analysts estimate that the Central African nation's production will be around 280,000 metric tons this year. This country accounts for over 70% of global supplies. The system was launched on 16 October and has quota for the fourth quarter of 18,125 tons. It will cap exports to 96,600 tons per year from 2026. Finally, sports news. The 33-year-old Zaha, who played in Major League Soccer this year for Charlotte on loan from Galatasaray, was included in a 26-player squad by coach Emese Faye. Ivory Coast is in a group with Mozambique, Cameroon and Gabon at the December 21, January 18 tournament in Morocco. Zaha, the long-time Crystal Palace winger, played at 3 AFCON tournaments but was not selected for the host nation for the previous edition in 2024. Zaha has played 33 times for the Ivory Coast and scored 5 goals. Born in the Ivorian capital, Abidjan, he grew up in London and played 2 friendly games for England before getting FIFA permission to change his international eligibility. Let's review the latest forecast and see what weather conditions are anticipated throughout the region. That's all from POA News Hour. Thank you very much for joining and stay tuned for more updates from Africa.